Have you ever met someone who seems to understand you without a single word, but still feels impossible to fully know? Someone who disappears for hours, or even days, without explanation. Someone who notices the tiniest shifts in mood, analyzes every word you say, yet rarely shares what's going on in their own mind. You might think they're mysterious, distant, or even contradictory. But this is the world of the INFJ personality, one of the rarest and most misunderstood types in the world. In this video, we'll explore the quirky INFJ behaviors that confuse everyone, from their mysterious habits in relationships, to their private routines, to the subtle patterns that make them uniquely enigmatic. INFJs are often described as mysterious, deeply empathetic, and highly intuitive. They are the type known as the advocate, a person who navigates the world with insight, reflection, and emotional precision. From the outside, INFJ's behavior can appear contradictory. Warm, yet distant. Social, yet needing solitude. Loyal, yet selectively cautious. Deeply emotional, yet calm and composed. But these quirks are not flaws. They are expressions of a rich inner life that few can fully comprehend. Throughout this video, we'll explore INFJ habits, personality patterns, and quirky behaviors that confuse others but make perfect sense when you see the world through their eyes. 1. Solitude as a necessity. One of the most common and misunderstood INFJ behaviors is their need for solitude. Even though INFJs are capable of deep social connection, they often retreat quietly after interactions. Why? Their minds are constantly processing emotions, analyzing conversations, reflecting on interactions and meaning. To someone outside, this can feel confusing or even hurtful. Why are they leaving? Are they upset with me? But for an INFJ, this is essential self-care. Solitude allows them to recharge, process the world, and restore emotional balance. Without it, an INFJ can become overwhelmed, irritable, or emotionally drained. 2. Overanalyzing the smallest details. INFJs are masters of reading between the lines. A pause in conversation, a fleeting expression, or a subtle shift in tone, these are all data points for an INFJ mind. They may reflect internally for hours, asking questions like, did I say the wrong thing? Is something wrong? What does this really mean? To many, this seems obsessive. To INFJs, it's a quest to understand and maintain harmony, both emotionally and socially. This habit is one of the reasons INFJs are considered mysterious. They notice what others overlook, and often keep their reflections private. 3. Sudden disappearances. INFJs have a habit of vanishing, sometimes without explanation. It's not about anger or disinterest. It's about mental and emotional overload. INFJs absorb other people's emotions, social tension, their own internal reflections. When overwhelmed, they retreat. Often, friends or partners may feel confused, hurt, or even rejected. But in reality, this is how an INFJ restores balance. It's not avoidance, it's preservation. 4. Observing what others miss. INFJs are hyperobservant. They notice subtle changes in energy, hidden emotions, body language and micro-expressions, patterns in behavior. This makes them excellent friends, partners, and counselors, but also sometimes intimidating, because people feel seen in ways they aren't used to. INFJs are not judgmental, they simply perceive more than most. And this heightened awareness is a core part of their personality. 5. Perfectionism in quiet ways. INFJs are often silent perfectionists. They refine their work quietly. They rehearse conversations in their mind. They critique their own actions without external validation. Their perfectionism is not vanity, it's about aligning their actions with their values and authenticity. This habit can be confusing to others, because INFJs appear calm and collected while internally striving for precision and meaning. 6. Feeling deeply about small things. INFJs experience emotional depth in everything, even seemingly minor events. Their minds naturally assign significance to small moments, seeing the invisible threads that connect people, actions, and meaning. A delayed text can trigger introspection, When someone doesn't reply as quickly as expected, INFJs often don't just see it as a minor inconvenience. They consider why it happened, what it might mean for the relationship, and how the person might be feeling. Their reflections are quiet, private, and layered with empathy. Even a small delay can spark hours of self-questioning and thought, which to outsiders seems disproportionate. A fleeting comment may cause reflection. A seemingly casual remark, perhaps an offhand joke or a small critique, can linger in an INFJ's mind for days. They analyze it not to dwell on negativity but to understand context, intention, and the emotional subtext behind the words. This makes them appear unusually thoughtful, sensitive, or even mysterious to others. A small act of kindness can feel monumental. On the flip side, gestures that most people might overlook, a smile from a stranger, a thoughtful note, or a brief moment of understanding, can deeply touch an INFJ. These moments are stored in their memory, remembered, and often inspire them to reciprocate in meaningful ways. Their reactions are rarely superficial. Even small interactions are processed with intensity and reflection, giving them a depth that can feel unpredictable, overwhelming, or even magical to those around them. 7. Prioritizing meaning above all. For INFJs, meaning is the compass that guides life. They rarely settle for surface-level experiences and constantly seek depth in their interactions, work, and personal growth. They crave deep conversations over casual chit-chat. Small talk often feels hollow or draining. INFJs prefer discussions about ideas, emotions, and personal growth. They thrive when conversations explore motivations, dreams, and feelings, finding connection in shared vulnerability and thoughtful reflection. They seek purposeful work over routine tasks. Tasks that feel meaningless, repetitive, or purely transactional quickly exhaust an INFJ. They are drawn to careers and projects that allow them to make an impact, express creativity, or help others in meaningful ways. Mundane work without purpose can feel like emotional and intellectual stagnation. They pursue authentic relationships over superficial ones. In friendships and romantic relationships, INFJs are highly selective. They invest time and energy only in those who resonate with their values and authenticity. Social interactions without depth can feel unsatisfying, leaving them reserved or withdrawn. This habit of seeking meaning makes INFJs appear selective, or even aloof, but it is not avoidance. It reflects their inner compass, guiding them toward truth, connection, and purpose in every aspect of life. 8. Loyalty, but selective. INFJs are deeply loyal, but their loyalty is earned, not given indiscriminately. Once committed, however, they can be quietly steadfast allies, friends, and partners. They invest fully in relationships that matter. When they care, they give everything. Their emotional presence is deep and consistent, often without needing acknowledgement. They remember important details, anticipate needs, and offer support silently, ensuring their loved ones feel safe and understood. They remember subtle details and moods. INFJs notice the small things, a change in tone, a fleeting expression, or an unusual reaction, and use this insight to strengthen their bonds. These observations help them navigate relationships carefully and empathetically. They offer support quietly and consistently. Their loyalty is rarely performative. INFJs show care through actions rather than grand declarations, a listening ear, a gentle nudge, or a thoughtful gesture. However, if trust is broken or their core values are compromised, INFJs may quietly distance themselves rather than confront with overt conflict. To outsiders, this can seem sudden or confusing, but for INFJs, it is a deliberate act of preserving emotional integrity and protecting their inner world. 9. Overthinking relationships. INFJs often examine their relationships deeply, seeking understanding, harmony, and authenticity in every interaction. Why did someone act a certain way? An INFJ may replay an interaction to understand intention, context, and emotional subtext. They aim to comprehend behavior, not judge, often imagining multiple perspectives to gain clarity. What do their gestures mean? A simple action, a compliment, a text, or a physical gesture, can be unpacked and analyzed. INFJs consider the emotional impact and implications for the relationship. How can they prevent misunderstandings? Their reflective nature often drives them to anticipate potential conflicts, clarify intentions, and adapt their communication. This is not control, it's preemptive care to preserve harmony and understanding. While this makes INFJs deeply thoughtful partners, it can also be exhausting for those who prefer simplicity or less analytical approaches to relationships. Their constant reflection can feel like overthinking, even though it stems from genuine care and emotional responsibility. 10. Shadow traits, the quiet side of stress. Even INFJs have a shadow, a set of behaviors that emerge under stress, hurt, or overwhelm. Understanding these traits is key to appreciating their complexity. Passive aggressiveness. INFJs may avoid direct confrontation but express frustration indirectly, often by withholding energy, being uncharacteristically sarcastic, or disengaging emotionally. Emotional withdrawal. When overstimulated, INFJs retreat, sometimes creating distance that confuses others. This withdrawal is a coping mechanism, not a rejection of others. Perfectionism taken to extremes. Stress can amplify their quiet perfectionism, leading to overanalyzing, self-criticism, or unattainable standards for themselves and others. Idealistic rigidity. Their values and vision of how life should be can become inflexible, causing tension with people who operate differently. Recognizing these shadow traits helps others understand INFJs more deeply. What may appear quirky, confusing, or inconsistent is often a manifestation of stress management, self-reflection, and the drive to maintain emotional equilibrium. 11. Creative and reflective habits. INFJs frequently turn to creative outlets and reflection as ways to process emotion and explore meaning. Journaling or writing. Many INFJs record thoughts, dreams, or reflections, allowing them to process emotions and clarify their inner world. Writing is a tool for introspection, problem-solving, and self-expression. Music, art, or design. Creative expression offers an emotional release and a channel to communicate depth that words cannot capture. Even subtle hobbies, sketching, composing, or designing, help them process complex emotions. Meditation and reflection. Quiet contemplation, mindfulness, or reflective walks are common INFJ habits. These routines help them balance intensity, recharge energy, and make sense of the world. These habits may seem unusual to outsiders, but for INFJs, they are essential tools for emotional clarity and authentic self-expression. 12. Emotional absorption. INFJs are highly empathetic and often absorb emotions from their environment. Stress or sadness can linger in their mind. They often carry emotions that are not their own, feeling tension or sadness deeply. Crowded or chaotic environments may feel overwhelming. High stimulation settings can overload their senses and emotions, leaving them drained or introspective. Creative or meditative practices help release accumulated energy. INFJs use reflection, creative outlets, or solitude to process and release absorbed emotions. This ability to internalize others' emotions can make them appear moody or unpredictable, but it's a natural consequence of deep empathy and emotional awareness. 13. Quirky everyday habits. INFJs exhibit subtle behaviors that often confuse others, yet reveal their introspective and intuitive nature. Talking to themselves while problem-solving. They process thoughts out loud, using self-dialogue as a way to clarify decisions or emotions. Rereading texts to analyze tone. They often interpret nuance and subtext in written communication, ensuring nothing is misunderstood. Preferring intimate one-on-one conversations. Small, meaningful conversations are more satisfying than group chatter or casual talk. Observing human behavior quietly. INFJs are natural students of human emotion and social dynamics, quietly noting patterns and subtleties. These quirks are not eccentricities, they are expressions of their reflective, perceptive, and deeply analytical personality. 14. Career habits. INFJs seek meaningful work that aligns with their values, often avoiding careers that feel superficial or purely transactional. Their career choices are deeply influenced by their desire to make a positive impact, express creativity, and pursue personal growth. They thrive in counseling, teaching, psychology, and creative fields. INFJs are naturally drawn to professions where empathy, insight, and intuition are valued. They flourish in environments that allow them to help others, solve problems, or explore complex ideas. A counselor helping someone navigate emotional challenges, a teacher inspiring curiosity, or an artist creating work with depth. These are all settings where INFJs feel energized and fulfilled. Routine tasks or meaningless projects feel draining. Mundane or repetitive work often leads to boredom and emotional exhaustion. INFJs are not lazy, they simply need work that resonates with their inner values. They prefer to focus on tasks that feel purposeful and impactful, avoiding obligations that don't feed their sense of meaning. They may switch careers multiple times to find alignment with purpose. An INFJ may explore different paths, searching for a role that feels authentic. Their career trajectory may appear unconventional or unpredictable, but it's guided by their inner compass. They are willing to take risks and make changes until their work feels aligned with their core beliefs and life purpose. INFJ's career habits may confuse colleagues or supervisors who expect conventional consistency, but these patterns are a reflection of their deep need for purpose and alignment in life. 15. Life reflections. Reflection is central to the INFJ personality. Every experience, no matter how ordinary, is filtered through their inner world of thought, emotion, and intuition. Their relationships. INFJs constantly reflect on their interactions and connections. They consider what went well, what could be improved, and how to maintain harmony. They replay conversations, think about intentions, and evaluate emotional resonance to better understand the people they care about. Their purpose. INFJs often question how their actions contribute to their personal mission. They seek ways to grow, serve, and make meaningful contributions. Reflection helps them align daily life with long-term values and goals, ensuring that each step is intentional. Their impact on the world. Even small actions are weighed for significance. INFJs may think about the ripple effects of their words, choices, and behavior on others, striving to leave a positive imprint. This habit of reflection makes INFJs appear contemplative or mysterious, even to those closest to them. Their inner life is rich and complex, and their thoughtful analysis of everyday experiences is a natural rhythm, not an exception. 16. Love and emotional intensity. INFJs experience love with profound depth, making them attentive, caring, and reflective partners. Their emotional intensity often surprises others, especially in subtle ways. They notice every subtle cue from partners, from a slight tone change to a fleeting expression. INFJs pick up on emotional signals that others may overlook. They intuitively sense when something is wrong or when their partner needs support, often responding before words are even spoken. They offer quiet, thoughtful support. INFJs rarely make grand gestures for show. Their acts of love are deliberate and meaningful, remembering a small preference, anticipating needs, or offering a listening ear. Their care is constant, even if understated. They sometimes retreat to process their own emotions. Even in healthy relationships, INFJs need solitude to reflect on feelings, evaluate dynamics, and maintain emotional balance. To partners, this may feel like distance, but it is actually a form of emotional preservation and clarity. This emotional intensity can be confusing for partners who prefer more predictable expressions of affection. But for INFJs, it is the natural way they experience love, with depth, reflection, and authenticity. 17. Idealism and disappointment. INFJs are visionaries who imagine how life could be at its best. Their idealism influences relationships, careers, and personal values, often setting a high bar for themselves and others. Relationships should be authentic. INFJs seek emotional depth, honesty, and mutual understanding. Superficial connections or casual interactions rarely satisfy them. They desire partners who match their level of empathy and introspection. Work should be meaningful. Jobs or projects that feel meaningless or purely transactional can leave INFJs disheartened. They thrive when their efforts contribute to something greater than themselves. Whether it's helping others, solving meaningful problems, or creating beauty, life should feel purposeful. INFJs constantly assess whether their daily choices align with their values and life mission. They are guided by long-term vision and personal ethics, which can make them selective and deliberate in their decisions. When reality doesn't align with their ideals, INFJs may feel disappointment or disillusionment. However, this is not cynicism. It reflects their deep commitment to meaning, authenticity, and a life lived with purpose. Even in disappointment, INFJs continue to search for alignment and depth, always striving for a life that resonates with their inner truth. INFJs are a study in contrasts. Empathetic, yet private. Loyal, yet selective. Idealistic, yet deeply aware of reality. Quiet, yet emotionally intense. Their quirky habits aren't flaws, they are tools for navigating a complex inner and outer world. Understanding an INFJ means looking beyond surface behaviors and appreciating the depth, reflection, and empathy behind every action. If you are an INFJ, or love one, remember this: their quiet intensity, reflective pauses, and mysterious habits are not signs of distance. They are signs of a mind and heart that feel profoundly, think deeply, and seek meaning in every moment. Once you understand that, the mystery becomes not confusion, but admiration.